So today we're going to talk about disappointment because I feel like as women we tend to get disappointed so often, and it's quite unfortunate. I know for myself this is something that I really struggle with, just getting disappointed when things didn't go my way, feeling frustrated, feeling like somehow guilty that it's my fault. And when things happen, when we get disappointed, all we can do is move forward, right? We have to stop being disappointed in ourselves, in circumstances, things that are out of our control. I used to get so disappointed in myself because I couldn't meet the expectations that I had set, because I had set the bar so high, because I felt like the world was asking me to be something that I felt like I had to rise up to. I had to achieve. I had to be at this level all the time. As a Black woman, I was told growing up, I have to work twice as hard just to get half of what everyone else gets. And so I always held this disappointment, this guilt, this resentment for myself when I felt like I wasn't doing twice as much, when I wasn't exceeding the expectations across the board. No matter the circumstances, no matter what was going on in my life, no matter if I had kids or if I was busy or god darn it tired, it didn't matter. And I'm sure you ladies can relate, feeling like you have to be all and everything for everybody, and feeling disappointed when you don't meet that expectation, feeling disappointed in yourself when you don't meet that mark. And it's like, what do? How do you let this go? How do you feel like you shouldn't be disappointed? How do you feel like it's okay to be upset, to make a mistake? From what I can tell you from my own experience and what I tell my ladies in my coaching program, the first thing that you have to do to let go of disappointment in yourself, the number one thing is to just accept it. Accept that you feel this way, and it is okay to feel this way. See, I used to bury it. I used to hold it inside. And I would carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I felt like even when there was people around, I had to hold on to the burdens. I had to take on everything and carry it by myself. Because I didn't have a right to share. I didn't have a right to burden anybody else with my problems, my disappointment, my guilt, my resentment, right? And what did that do? That wound up making me feel worse. It wound up hurting me in the long run. And I couldn't accept it. I bottled it up. And I acted like it wasn't there. Those feelings of disappointment, resentment, hurt, guilt, pain, anything that I felt was uncomfortable, anything that I felt was blocking me, was getting in my way, kind of uncomfortable emotions, I would push it out the way. Bottle it up. Because it was safer. That was survival mode for me. I couldn't accept the truth that I was feeling a certain way. And so the first thing that has helped me to let go of disappointment was learning to accept it. Recognizing the situations, the triggers, the things that make me feel this way, that put me in this mindset, that put me into this emotion of disappointment. And accepting that exactly how I feel, and that it is a valid emotion, that I am human, that I deserve to give myself the time to process and accept that this is how I feel, and not try to push it out the way, not try to bottle it up, not try to store it away in a box and never look at it again. Like, I deserve to give myself the attention to accept and process that this is happening to me and this is how I feel. Right? And then 2, once I accept it, I practice self-compassion and self-love. And I swear this is one of the hardest things for me to do. Because when you are so used to being hard on yourself, when you are so used to being the toughest critic, to being perfectionist, to feeling like you have to have control and you have to do everything so right all the time, it is hard. I would say it isn't hard, but it feels hard It's almost a limiting belief that you can be easy with yourself. That you can say, yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay. I still love me for me. Like, the two don't feel like they go together. When you are rooted in this idea that you can't make a mistake. And this was a limiting belief that I had, that I can't make a mistake, that I have to be perfect all the time. And when I started my inner work journey, when I started my manifestation journey, this was something I really, really, really had to work on. Because the need to be perfect, the need to feel like I had to show up and be for everybody and show excellence and with a smile on my face and no bad hair days all the time. It made it harder and harder and harder for me to show up for myself and say, yeah, I'm going through something right now. I accept it. Okay. But now how do I give myself grace? How do I show up with love for me? How do I show up with compassion for myself? I get that I'm disappointed, but how do I show up with love? With self-love, self-kiss? Like, instead of self-loathing, instead of making myself feel worse about myself. How do I do that? Right? And I got the best piece of advice that helped me through this. Like, I recommend this to all of my clients. Ask yourself, if your daughter was in this situation and she was feeling the way that you are feeling right now, what would you say to her? Because I guarantee you wouldn't say, you suck, you need to go do it again. Or you messed up, boo-hoo, get over it. Like, no. That's when we tell ourselves what you want to tell to your kid. I know I have a daughter. You wouldn't say that. But see, it's easy for us to be nicer and kinder and more gracious and compassionate to other people, especially when they're kids, or especially when it's someone that's close to us. But the wounds that you are covering up, the wounds that you are feeling, that you are hiding, that you are not giving yourself grace to feel, that you are not accepting, is your inner child. And she is asking you to give her some grace. So the next time you're feeling disappointed in yourself, I don't care what it is that you're disappointed about, goddess. The next time you're feeling disappointed in yourself, ask yourself, in this moment, what would I tell my daughter? How would I tell her to move forward? And watch how your actions completely change. 3, my third tip for getting over disappointment in yourself is to adjust your expectations. Because again, we take on as women the expectations that we have to be everything, do everything, be there for everybody with no breaks. Don't give up. I want to let you know that you can adjust your expectations of yourself. You don't have to be what you think everybody else wants you to be. You don't have to rise to the level of an expectation of somebody else. You just don't. You get to set your own expectations. And if your expectations are high, go for it, babe. You got it. But know that if you don't consistently meet these expectations, that does not make you a failure. It does not mean you're a disappointment. It does not mean that you were unworthy. It just means you didn't meet that goal, that dream, that expectation that day. But it does not mean that you won't meet it. And if you feel like your expectations are just a little too high, it is okay to bring them down to meet where you are at until you get to that level. I'll share an example. I started school at the beginning of this year. I said, you know what? At 28, I just turned 29, so at 28, I'm going to go back and finish my degree. I want to get my degree, and I want to do it before I have my next job. And so I want to go full time. I'm just going to go all in. The way that my school is set up is I'm an accelerated program. And although I take 4 classes in a semester to be a full-time student, I only take 2 classes at a time. And so they're breaking up each semester into 2 terms. And each term I take 2 classes. So they're 8 weeks, so they're accelerated. I'm doing the same course load and same amount of work that somebody would have done in one class for 16 weeks and 8 weeks. So I was like, okay, my first term, I went through 2 classes. I was like, I got this, and it was a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of an adjustment for me, not having been in school for almost 10 years, being with the baby, like it was a lot. But I managed to get A's. I have a 4.0 GPA, so I was really proud of myself. And I said, I want to maintain this. I don't want to go part-time because I don't want to prolong what can actually be done in 2 years. Why take 4 when I can do it in 2, right? Makes sense. But at the beginning of this term, things changed for me. It wasn't that the work got harder or the expectations were set differently from school, but my home situation changed. I suddenly had more responsibilities during the day at home. I'm still running a full-time business. And so I began to become disappointed in myself because I decided to take this term part-time. And I said, it's only going to be just 1 term. Let me just ease into it. Let me just figure things out, get a flow, figure out what's going on in my life, get some things situated, get some systems in place, and then I'll be good to go next semester. But honestly, I'm looking at next semester like, I want to go full-time, but realistically, I don't think I'll be able to handle it. And if I push myself to do it, I'm just setting myself up for disappointment because I'm going to be stressed out, trying to figure out how to manage being a full-time stay-at-home mom, being a full-time student, and being a full-time business owner, and still giving myself time for me, and still giving myself time for my family, and just to breathe and have some room to flow, because we all know we flow, and that's how we attract more abundance to us. But I ain't in flow when I'm stressed out, okay? I'm just not. I'm not in flow. I'm stressed out. I'm overwhelmed. I'm talking to myself. I'm going like this all day, and it's not cute. So that's the survival mode. My survival mode kicks in heavy when I'm stressed, and everybody feels it. Most of all, me. So I save myself disappointment by adjusting my expectations because I'm only one person. And at the end of the day, I had to tell myself whether or not I finish this degree in 2 years or 4 years, I'm getting this degree. That's happened. It's done. I ain't have no kids, but still I get this degree. So no more kids until this degree comes. That's it. And if I can do it in 2, great. If I can do it in 4, okay, great. But giving myself that grace, give myself the love, because that's exactly what I would tell my child if she was in the same situation. You were the only one setting this expectation for yourself, so you were the one that gets to change it. Why put the extra pressure there when you're already doing so much? Why not give yourself the grace? So you were feeling like you were taking on a little bit more than you could chew, and you've been having a hard time admitting that or feeling like you can let things go. This is your confirmation. Let it go. Bring down the expectation in yourself, because there's a time and season for everything. And like I said, in the beginning of this journey, when I started school, that was my time. That was my season. I could do full time. And then the season changed. And it doesn't mean I have to stop what I'm doing. I just need to adjust the expectation that right now, things can't happen the same way. And rather than getting disappointed in myself, being proud of myself for saying that I'm making this decision for me. Because a lot of people will tell you what they think you should and shouldn't be doing. There's a lot of people out there who get in your ear and they talk to you or they make you feel bad on top of you feeling bad about what you haven't done. Y'all know you got somebody in your life that's doing it. And if you do, you need to let them go. I talk to my ladies a lot about setting standards about who they keep in their circle. And that's one of the reasons why. Because you have people in your ear that don't need to be in your ear. And part of your inner work journey requires that you level up and you leave those people behind. And you are comfortable enough with setting that boundary, because that is so important. Okay, guys, it's so important. 4, my 4th tip for getting over disappointment in yourself is getting clarity, getting perspective on why you felt disappointed in the first place. I'll use my example from earlier. I know why I was disappointed in myself for deciding to go part-time, because I felt like it made me look like I was failing, like I was incapable of handling what I said I was going to handle. Like I was basically lying to myself, because I set out with this mission. I told everybody when I was going to school, I'm doing it full-time. I got this. And I wanted to save face. I didn't want to look bad. I don't want people to judge me and say, oh, well, I thought you could do it. Nah, you can't do it. No, I don't want that. Not that anyone has, but in my head, it felt like that's what was going to happen. That was going to be the consequence of me choosing me. And it made me feel disappointed. And it's not fair. It's not fair to me. So I had to get clarity. Get clarity on exactly why you feel disappointed. Because whatever that thing is, that trigger is going to keep showing up for you. It's going to keep showing up, guys. So once you get clarity on what it is, you can be aware of it and start to remove it. Start to get past it. Start to do the inner work to heal what is actually hurting. Because if I'm honest, it's not the disappointment that's a problem. It's the fact that I was so concerned with what other people would think of me, that I would somehow be less than for not doing what I said I was going to do, the way that I said I was going to do it. That's where disappointment came from. That is the inner work that needs to be healed. So you figure out what you need to get clarity on, what you need perspective on, what is actually triggering you, and then you do the inner work. So then finally, 5, my 5th step, you can learn from it. Learn from the disappointment. Let it be your lesson and your blessing, not your tormentor. Not the thing that you beat yourself up about. Let it be your lesson. Because that's all this is. There is a season for everything. And whether or not we want to admit it, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I promise you guys, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. The universe has not made any mistakes. You are learning this lesson for a reason. You felt this for a reason. You hopped on this video for a reason, because you needed to hear this. You need to hear it. And that's okay. You're here. Now you can learn from the lesson. Now you can learn from disappointment, so that you don't have to repeat it. Because in order for us to move up, in order for us to manifest everything that we are asking for, everything that we are praying for, desiring, that's on our hearts, we have to be at the level on which we can actually attract it. We have to be the energetic match for it. And that requires us to do the work now. It requires us to show up now, so that we can be ready for the blessings to just come in. We need to heal the wounds, the inner work, the trauma that we've been feeling and holding on to for so long. And as a woman, I know you have it. I know you feel it. I got tired of my shoulders feeling so heavy. I got tired of having knots up and down my neck and back. And so I decided to do something different. I decided to learn from my triggers. I decided to learn from my trauma and start to heal. And that's all that I want for you ladies. I hope you ladies have gained value from this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can get more inner work tips and manifestation tips from me. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.